Juneteenth is, to me, it's the solidification of the promise of freedom. Our Declaration of Independence says that every man has unalienable rights, which are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Abraham Lincoln announced the Emancipation Proclamation in January of 1863, but it only applied to the parts of the Confederacy that the Union controlled. Over 2 years until the end of the war in 1865, wherever the Union took control, enslaved people were freed. And so there are different dates of celebration throughout the South, and many of these dates are referred to as Jubilee days. And so Texas, being the furthest geographically from the rest of the country, there were still about 250,000 enslaved people who did not know they were free. Some of it was a result of the distance, but also the resistance of slave owners who knew the war was over, but they were resistant in freeing enslaved people.
To me, it wasn't until June 19th of 1865 that America, the United States of America, fully realized the promise of liberty to every man and woman that resided in this country. As far as making it a holiday, whenever something is very important to you, you put your money where your mouth is, and you do everything that you are empowered to do to recognize that. And so to me, it was a no-brainer to make Juneteenth a countywide holiday.
So it wasn't until June 19th of 1865 in which General Gordon Granger arrived with about 2,000 Union troops to Galveston, Texas, and announced that the war had ended and that enslavement was over. And so that culminated in a celebration of those former enslaved persons. And that celebration occurred every year on June 19th. Oftentimes in a Juneteenth celebration, there's the reading of the Emancipation Proclamation.
I do order and declare all persons held as slaves within said designated states and parts of states are henceforward shall be free.
There are games, there are celebrations, but there's also reflections of what has happened over the year. And so in the annual event of Juneteenth, each year when persons in Texas would gather, they would celebrate successes of what was happening within the community. And that became a part of this tradition and of a remembrance of where they were, but also how far they had come. The fact that even when Juneteenth came, what happened to those enslaved persons in Texas and even throughout the South in doing Reconstruction. Because I think that's also a part of the story, that even though they were free, in many ways they were still in bondage as a result of the economic structure, the lack of education, overall quality of life, and limited opportunities that they would have, and in many cases for generations. And so I think that also has to be part of the story that we're talking about if we're going to truly understand the purpose and the legacy of Juneteenth.
Everybody should be doing at least one kind of service project. I know we think of MLK as service, but Juneteenth should also be a day where you recognize that there's a lot more that we could be doing for citizens in this country, doing one service project, if it's picking up trash or going to deliver food to the senior citizens, something as your gift back to society should be done on Juneteenth.